Hey, 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 it's Cynthia, your spiritual shit disturber and mystic of this podcast, Mind Power Meets Mystic. I'm so glad that you're joining us. My dear friend and podcast partner, Michelle Walters, our mind power junkie and hypnotherapist extraordinaire, is off this week so that I can share a little thing called Heart of the Home. Has to do with house clearings, house healings, and it ties into our series that we've been doing that has to do with chakras and businesses, work-related businesses, and how people respond to what they need work-wise through their chakra system. So, if you've been following, which I hope you have, and if not, take a listen. We've got some really cool stuff. We went through the first chakra, which had to do with security, safety, and foundation, which meant we talked about security, especially as it comes with internet, and safety and security with a financial advisor as well as with a realtor, because that's like your biggest investment. It's an emotional investment as well as um, a financial one. So it messes with you in so many different ways, which is one of the things that I love about real estate. But to keep going, the second chakra has to do with femininity, receptivity, connectivity. And we had professionals and founders and business owners talk about how their businesses help the people who are looking for assistance in that chakra area. The third chakra has to do with personal pride, drive, emotions, anything that like brings you forward and out. We've had business owners and professionals talk about that. And it's been amazing because you get to see how people shift and and move on to other things as they heal that part of their chakra system. And it looks like business. The fourth is the great balancer. It's the heart chakra. So we've been talking to people who build communities, who invest in things that are invest in with energy and money about social justice and all these things that are greater than ourselves, because that's the fourth chakra is about. It's about love on a global level, not just on a personal, private, intimate level. It's what is our thumbprint? What is it that is greater than ourselves that we are going to contribute to? Now, heart of the home is a twist on that, which is instead of going outward, we're actually going to go inward and we're going to talk about what is the heart of the home, why is it important, and how the hell do I get one if I don't have one? All right. So before we go any further, let's talk about uh, one thing, and that's you and your home, wherever you lay your head, is an agreement. What you're saying is, I trust you to keep me safe and let me relax and, release my sphincter so I can do the things that are very private, as well as lay my head down and sleep, right? Two different ways you need to relax. I'm sorry, I am potty mouth, and that was a pun that I did not intend. So let's continue. All right. Okay. So it's a relationship. So then the house does that thing. It provides the safety and security that you're looking for. And it holds, right? It holds very precious the energy that you share in this space. And what its intention is to mirror that energy back to you to feed you so that you then share more energy with the house. So there's the relationship. It's like an incubator. Your home is a personal incubator from, I don't know, just a couple of square feet to thousands of square feet. That part doesn't matter. What's important is that it holds space and it is a relationship. If you don't believe me, I got a great story for you. So there was this one home that wasn't getting any business at all. No looking, no interest, nothing. And it was in a cute little town, not too far in the Bay Area. And the Bay Area has been a seller's market for a very long time. So it was in part of this hot seller's market, but it just wasn't doing anything. So I decided to go down and clear the space for the realtor. And I noticed the first thing that as I walked in, that you were met or greeted with a staircase. And it wasn't just a staircase that went straight up, it was a staircase that had walls, and it was, I think it's called a scissorback or some razorback. I can't remember, but it's a switchback. That's what it's called. Sorry. It's a switchback. So you see a little bit of stairs and then you see wall, and the staircase is enclosed by these four walls. So you actually have to go around the staircase in order to experience the entire main floor of the house. So I cleared it, and there were a lot of challenges that I won't go into because that's not the important part. But I cleared and I moved and you know, shifted things around. And there was one little piece that it was shifting but hadn't shifted. But the house said, just go, just leave. And I didn't feel comfortable with that because I like to stay until every part of my being can feel that every part of the house is shifted and cohesive, and you can feel the invitation or the attraction of people for people who come into the house. I decide to return with my house clearing person, Judy, who does a lot of assisting for my house clearings. And I said, Judy, I just need a second opinion. And we walked in, and it happened to be an open house. And there was a cute young realtor who wasn't really sure he believed in any of this stuff. So when I came in, I introduced myself. I said, "Hey, I did a house clearing yesterday. I'm just coming in to double check because um, the house said it was okay for me to leave, but that's not what I usually do at that time." And he kind of smirked and he let me go through. And so Judy and I went through, and she says, "Yeah, everything feels great." And it was true. It felt like it just needed more shifting, and it wanted to shift on its own, and it didn't want me to babysit, but it felt really good. So we walked downstairs to, tell us about the findings. And also, I give recommendations for realtors so that when they do hold an open house, they know how to keep that energy light and buoyed, right? And I love that he did. He had music in the background. He was greeting people where it felt appropriate to greet people. And he said, I don't know if I believe this stuff. How do you know if this stuff works? And as he asked, there was a knock on the door, and two women from the neighborhood came in. They were looking at a place to buy because they were renting, and they ended up buying that house. So totally made a believer out of that young realtor, which was so much fun to see his face when he saw them walk in and heard their story. But it also made me feel good because I understood that I can really trust the voice of the house, and that it doesn't really follow the same formula. There's a guideline, but no foundation. So that's the relationship thing. That's how you know that the house is listening and that there's an attraction. Okay, let's talk about what is the heart of the house. The heart of the house is first in feng shui. Um, let's talk about it that way. In feng shui, they have an octagon that they place on top of the floor plan of your home, and that's called a bagua. And each side of the bagua holds a specific characteristic, color, items, uh, femininity, masculinity, as well as element. It has all kinds of things. And in the center of the house is what they call the heart of the house, or the health area. And that is the part that feeds all the other areas. I'll call it the common denominator, right? It's the life center where all the energy is, and it relates to all the other characteristics of the house. Now, as a house healer, and just like I said in this story, the physical heart of the house was this crazy staircase that you could put up some nice artwork, but it's not where you can feed energy and have the energy then radiate outwards, right? So, so there's no physical heart of the house, but that doesn't mean there's no heart of the house. The heart of the house, in my interpretation, is the place that's the most ploppable. And ploppable is in air quotes. When I say ploppable, it means you can set your stuff down wherever you want, but it's where you sit and take your first deep breath. That is the heart of the house. It's where company or other family members come in, and it's a natural place where you congregate and have conversations and create memories. That's where there's a lot of laughter. And believe it or not, it's where if there are the least amount of arguments or fights. And I'll make a definition around that in a moment. Um, when it comes to the common areas. So for some people, the heart of the house is the kitchen. For some people, it's the family room. Some people in my house, it was actually when I was growing up, it was actually the dining area because I don't even know. It just was one of those things that as soon as you came in, you plopped everything down on one chair, you sat down, and you just chilled for a minute. And that's where my friends and I would go. And that's where my grandparents would actually go when they came and visited us. It was really crazy because it wasn't the most comfortable place, but it was definitely the heart of the house. Now, let's back up and talk about a lot of times there can be disagreements in the heart of the house. There can be there can be grief, there can be despair, there can be so many things in the heart of the house. And it is where the that energy shifts and transmutes to something else, right? From despair comes determination. Might be where you have an aha moment. But because the energy of that space is more than you, it's family, it's friends that come over, it's so many things, it shifts a lot of things. And again, because that's where everyone congregates, that's usually where the energy radiates outward. Okay. So that is the beauty of having the heart of the house. The other thing I believe that the heart of the house was our dining area was because we are a food focused family. So when we were preparing food, that's where we gossiped. And that's actually, as a kid, I got to hear all about my family. It's where we could feel comfortable having deeper conversations because my family didn't have a wasn't comfortable talking about really deep things. But if you could focus on the food and actually look at the food and pick at the food, then it was a lot easier to talk about things that were uncomfortable or just challenging to share. So that's what the heart of the house is. Not every house has a heart, and that's okay. Some houses have a stomach. And if you think about stomachs, it's where people digest. It's the not where people digest, right? But it's where digestion occurs. It's where, digestive is also third chakra. So it's where drive is and ambition lays. These are all good things. It just has a different vibration to it. So you'll find that in some houses, in the heart of the house, um, the energy feels a little bit more driven or a little bit stronger instead of lighter versus heavier, right? I don't like to say that the stomach of a house is a heavier energy because drive is not heaviness. Drive is a force, right? So it's just more, right? It's just a different kind. So when people have stomachs in their homes instead of hearts in their homes, they tend to be problem solvers and they thrive at problem solving, or they have um, a drama, uh, a drama type of work or business, uh, attorneys, therapists, they don't always have hearts of homes. And I'm not saying that that they are driven, not driven, that they have to only have stomachs instead of hearts of homes. But I wanted to use those as examples. So a lot of times it's people who are striving to go from one situation to another or in one station to another, really working in to getting into C-suite or, higher up in the corporate ladder, things like that, or just wanting to make your business bigger. Sometimes it's just that focus is more on drive than it is on relaxation. They could use their room as as a place of respite. And so they navigate their home in a different way. Not bad, just different. There is one more type of home that I've encountered, and that is a home that has neither. And so it's a interesting feeling. And I would love to hear your opinion on this because there are more houses out there that don't have stomachs or hearts. They have nothing. And so every room is pleasant. Every room you can sit in, but there's not one space where you can just sit and have discussion or have laughter or to share something that is intimate. So those are really interesting spaces. And what I have found is it doesn't necessarily mean that the house has this thing like the staircase that because there's no heart physically in in the house that there can't be a heart in the house or a stomach in the house. I have felt this in a studio apartment and a live work loft space because they don't really, in those spaces, they weren't really sure how they were going to maneuver through all their spaces. Where do I rest or where do I work and not work? So there are places that has neither. And so I invite you when you encounter a space that doesn't altogether feel comfortable, is to check it out. It could be, and it's an intuitive thing as well as an emotional thing, but intuition's always first. So if you walk in and you don't feel comfortable, first thing you want to say, ask yourself is the energy of the house just not in sync with mine? You'll know that right away. If it is in sync, but it still doesn't feel comfortable, then you keep walking around and go, is this a heart house or is this a stomach house? I can handle both. Some people prefer one over the other, and that's okay, right? If you're a heart-centered person, um, then you may not feel comfortable in a stomach-driven home, and vice versa. It's absolutely fine, right? Just like you know, Jesus, Krishna, and Buddha are not for everyone. Not every home is for everyone either, right? Um, so go to that place. And then if there's nothing, right? If you're just not feeling comfortable anywhere and you are in sync with this house, it's because the person who's lived there, or if it's up for sale, the generations who have lived there have had something going on that had no roots to it. It could be that maybe multiple families lived there, but they were there for you know, actually, that's not a really good example because family has a connection. It could be a house full of roommates and, boarding house as well as a house full of roommates before then, where there's really no connection. There's no need to have connection. That's not what the place was for. So that could be a reason. It could be um, a couple that live together out of necessity, but they have completely separate lives. So there are a lot of reasons why you don't feel a heart or a stomach in a home. Does that make it bad? No, there's no such thing as a bad house energetically because everything can shift, right? Um, but what that means is sometimes a house is not for you. And it's easy to feel the information about people who live there, right? Based on what you feel in their home. So, those are the things I wanted to talk to you about having the heart of the home. Sometimes it's a stomach rather than a heart, and sometimes it's Neither, right? How do you shift it up? If you have a home that has a stomach rather than a heart, and you are that person, I say bravo. Mad applause for you. Live in that house the way that you and your house have agreed in, right? Upon. If you have the heart of a house, awesome. Then what you want to do is keep feeding into the heart of the home so that the heart of the home will then expand it to all the other rooms, right? Outside to the house. And and then let it also, bathe that energy back into you. If there's nothing there, then and you want to live in this house, like sincerely live in this house, then it's about finding a space that is the most comfortable for you, or you'd like to create comfort. It could be a very small space where you build an altar and you know that you are going to pay your respects to that altar. That all of a sudden creates some kind of force that will grow and build and either turn into a heart or a stomach. It doesn't have to be an altar. It can be a reading nook. It can be a place where you do something that brings you so much joy, knitting, crocheting, puzzles, writing, doesn't matter. I went and visited my friend Antonia, and the heart of her house, which is a pretty cool space, is a desk, but the desk is right behind her couch and it overlooks an amazing water view, right? It's just an incredible water view. And everything revolves around that desk. Is it about work? No. She's an incredibly creative person, so that's where her creativity is. And then based on that creativity, she moves to other parts of her house to foster what it is that she's creating. It's pretty incredible what she's done. So these are the things that you do. It's about something that's really important to you. All right. So that's how you start creating the heart or the stomach of the house. And it doesn't have to be in the middle. It can be anywhere. But what's really important is that it's easily accessible for you, the person who lives there. Okay. So I just want you to know that you have a heart and there's an agreement with your home, which means that your home has a heart. You have a stomach, a third chakra, and your home can also have a very robust third chakra. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have a heart, it means it's driven by the third chakra. All right. So, fourth chakra is about something greater than you. You and your house have an agreement. You have a history. Your home has a history. There's an agreement. It's greater. However, and it's insulated. It's something where you get to really work on your heart as you feel more and more nested and invested in your home. So remember, your home isn't just where you live. It's how you live. It's how you value. It's so much more. There are no secrets in your home, meaning there ain't shit you can hide from your home. Your energy is out, whether you're bullshitting yourself or not. It is in your home, and your home is going to reflect it back to you. So really, really investigate what kind of home you have and then and build upon that. Okay. Last thing, if you have any questions about this, I have a monthly workshop, a mastermind called the Prosperity Flow, and how you shift your home shifts your life. Come see me, call, ask. You can text, email, post, doesn't matter. Just reach me. I'm happy to answer those questions. All right. Thank you so much for this episode of Mind Power Meets Mystic. And I look forward to seeing your comments, to seeing your likes, to seeing that you're sharing and that you are actually getting so much value out of our podcast. Thank you so much and talk to you soon. Bye.